So good evening, everyone. This is another day of Be Agile Scrum, and we welcome you on this day. And before we get started, we have one new joinee. So Nadim, I believe that you have gone through the recordings which we shared with you. If yes, please let us know, and also just take a moment to introduce yourself, please.
Yes, I've been through the recordings, but I still need to, go through it one more time because it was a lot of information in just 2 days. But I'm getting some grasp of it, and hopefully, I'll be better prepared in the next class. Uh, Myself, I'm from Lahore, Pakistan. I'm here in United States since 2004, and my career was in sales. Specialize in hand knotted carpets. Back in Pakistan, I was more in the production side, producing them and getting them prepared and sending them here. Then I got sponsored on an H1B, came here, did that for 10 years. And then I quit that job because the industry handmade carpets is in a challenging situation right now. Right now, I'm running a small business and trying to get into the this business management or product management field. Uh, Other than that, I have family. My family is with me. I have 4 kids, uh, 3 boys and a girl, uh, and having some good times in the United States. Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nadeem. Welcome to our sessions. Welcome to Guru Schools and welcome to this super fantastic sessions where we all discuss and share the information and details about the BA Agile course.
Mhm.
I do not know.
Okay.
Gaurav?
Yes,
Yes,
I was speaking on mute. I'm.
I thought so. Yeah, yeah.
So once again, let me tell you that before we get started, we have something over here with which we call it as goal. So let me ask and remind each one of you that we have a goal, and that's the reason we are here together. The only core reason on one reason is to get placed, right? Do we agree with this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And the goal that may get deviated with the time, and it should not get deviated. What should we do for that? We should protect our goal. How do we do that? So we protect our goal with some code of honor, we call it, and for that we must abide by. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you all, and there we will read together the code of honor. Why we do that? Because that's the backbone. That's what protect our goal. And if we don't repeat that, if we don't remind to us, to each one of us, there are chances that we continuously uh, find ourselves deviating from it. So let me share my screen, and if you can see the screen, just let me know. Just shout yes if you can see. Yeah, can you see the screen with COH?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you so much. So the very first one, which we call it as showing up live, and today I know that you all showed up on time and sometime. Yeah, why do we do that? For that also I'm coming. Showing up on time, being punctual, and highly committed are the few traits we need to showcase, because we are getting placed into corporate of America, and it is said that we are preparing for our next part to play, and we need to get habituated of that what we are going to deliver in future. So when we repeat it over here, we can simply replicate the same once we get placed. So it is also said that how you do anything is how you do everything. So second one becomes the becoming full stack student. For getting placed, taking instructor-led free training is the one pillar of the Guru School. And here, when we are doing the instructor-led free training for each one of us, remember that here we are here for learning as a first step, and for that we have to learn as a student, and being the full stack student is the prerequisite for that. How you will fulfill that? By doing all the assignment, doing self research, and repeating whatever we have learned. The third one becomes is taking the full responsibility. We are good and continue to attract the success until we are doing all the assignments, being the full stack student, and doing whatever is said and asked to do. But when we don't do what we attract, we know that we will attract the failure. So if you are ready to take the responsibility of success, you also must take the responsibility of the failure, because you have attracted this by not doing so. You will get the marks by appearing in the examination and writing the answers to the question. You will also get the mark by appearing in the examination and not writing the answers to the questions. Okay, so both things bring the result, and you need to take the responsibility for both of the things. So fourth one is mindset. So mindset over here is learning mindset we must have, positive mindset we must have, complaint free mindset we must have, and we should load ourselves with the gratitude and excuse me, increase our receptivity by learning to the audio which we have shared with you. And in case you have not got the one, ask me after the session and I'll share that with you. Every time you need to repeat this, and every day you need to listen to Earl Nightingale, that's the Stranger's Secret, and declare what you are going to learn. Okay, so it is called as a golden quadrant of the learning. So how do you do that? So you need to start by declaring before you get into learning, and once the learning has been done, you need to draw it. Okay, whatever you have learned, you must draw that on a piece of paper as a part of summary. What you need to do, you need to just publish a minute of video or two, so that for your next preparation you will be given some feedback that how you are grasping the things and how you are preparing yourself for the interviews as well. So these all are a step by step guide, and in between this might come as a pre-preparation for yourself. So on this note, before we are getting into the learning, I would like to invite you all for the declaration. So how do we do that? So we give ourselves an anchor, and the anchor is nothing but a physical anchor. The anchor is a clap, a self high five. So at the count of three, I would like you to invite to give a self high five, a clap to yourself, and repeat the highlighted word on the screen. I hope you can read it. Okay, it's readable. Even if it is not, let me increase the font for you. Okay, so that, just give me a second, I'm increasing the font. So Prerna ji, can you confirm if it is readable on the screen?
It is readable.
Okay.
It can be a little larger, but yeah, it's very much readable, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So at the count of three, let's clap along with me. 1, 2, 3, and clap and repeat. I am a quick learner.
I'm a quick learner.
What others can learn and master, I too can do that. Brilliant. And now the another piece is this. So once again, we need to give an anchor of clapping. 1, 2, 3, and clap. Because I am an awesome learner, today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me. Yes, excellent. So this is going to be super duper easy for you. And on this path, the sixth one is giving our ego away, because we are on the path of learning that makes ourselves more spiritually grounded. And because we are earning, we must keep an intent of doing a charity of giving away 5% of 10% of our earning to the society or wherever we believe in. Why do we do that? Because when we give then we grow, and when we receive, we survive. So do we need to just give for the sake of growing? No, we also need to give away to inspire others. I myself personally do that every single week. If your earning is in the week, please continue to do so, or even if in a month, please continue to do so, and appreciate what you do, and even appreciate what others do for you. And even something does not happen to you, please appreciate that as well, because your every single step is the preparation for the next one. And what you appreciate appreciates you. So on this note, what I'm going to do, I'm going to once again request you all, please do follow it and repeat before we get started. I agree to follow the code of honor. Please repeat with me. I agree
I
to follow
agree
the
to follow
code.
the code of honor.
Thank you so much.
I agree to follow the code of honor.
Thank you so much. So last time what we have seen, the people involved in Be Agile Scrum. Let me quickly tell you what is Be Agile Scrum. So Be Agile Scrum, the business analysis, you can sense it as a groundwork. Agile is the foundation of software development life cycle. We have seen for software development lifecycle what is required. So the very first thing was requirement gathering. We need to collect the requirement. We need to jot them down in a document. We call it as a documentation. And once documentation is done, so what we do, requirement analysis is done, requirement gathering is done, documentation is done, then we shift towards the coding. Once coding is done, design is done, then testing has to be done, then maintenance and support start. So these are the 7 phases of software development life cycle. Earlier, what used to happen, that it used to take years, and when the software used to get ready, by the time it used to get older as well, because requirement used to get changed. And for that matter of fact, what exactly happened, few software engineers decided that we should continuously, iteratively, in every single week or 2 week or within maximum 30 days of span, we should deliver a chunk of the software or a piece of software which is a workable software, okay, to the client, and we can receive the feedback from them, and we continue to doing so. What do you see on the screen? So this is talking about the Scrum events. Okay, so what is Scrum? So Scrum is a framework. Okay, Scrum is a framework, and in one Scrum, using Agile, we deliver a software. Okay, and in the Scrum, there are multiple events. So one event is called as release planning. In release planning, what exactly happened? You come up with the set of requirement. Client comes up with the set of requirement. Say for example, client has 10 requirements. Let me give you example how a requirement can be like. For example, you are a person, you want to prepare your own home, you want to build your own home, your own bungalow or whatever it is. So and bungalow has got 4 rooms, 1 kitchen and bathroom and all. So when you approach to the engineer or civil engineer, so civil engineer looks at it and he finds that there are requirement of 4 rooms and 1 kitchen, bathroom and all. So he will tell you that we have room number 1, room number 2, room number 3, room number 4, and kitchen and bathroom, toilet and storeroom, say for example. So there, these are 7 requirements. Okay, 1 requirement but 7 requirement. And he says that let's discuss these all requirements. So these all requirement, when he names it, let's call it as a release planning. Are you with me so far? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Did you get what exactly I said just now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now what exactly happens, your teammates, so this engineer becomes your part of teammate. So I'm echoing, I don't know why. Hello. Yeah, so I'm audible again. So fine. So this civil engineer becomes your teammate, and your spouse could be your teammate, and you what decide, let's prioritize the requirement. We have room 4, let's decide first which room can be created. Although you are the engineer, and also you decide, hey, I'll also pitch why the foundation is first necessary, and post foundation what we will build, we will discuss about it. So when you are discussing that what to deliver first based on the priority, that becomes the part of sprint planning. What is sprint? Sprint is a duration given. Say for example, your contractor or engineer says that, hey, what will do, your one room will be built within say for example 1 month, or say for example 30 say for example 20 days. Okay, so your that duration, yeah, your that duration become your sprint. Sprint means simple duration. Sprint means what? Can you repeat repeat now? Sprint means
Sprint is
what?
simple duration.
Simple
Simple
duration.
duration.
Exactly. And what happens, every single week they start working upon. So every single week when they are started, they have started working upon, then it becomes their daily duty to discuss with the client, with you, that what they had done yesterday in 8 hours, and what they are planning to do in next 8 hours, and are they finding any difficulty to continue their work. And this is what exactly we discuss and call it as a daily scrum in the software industry. Okay, they work for the software, and they also work on the few requirements. Okay, they prioritize that what we need to deliver instantly, immediately, based on the client asks. And then they discuss who are they. They are business analysts, they are software testers, they are software developer. And remember, always scrum master is the bridge between entire team, so he will also be there. Product owner can also be there. Okay, product owner who owns the product. Okay, so daily these are happening. And say for example, the time for 1 or 2 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that is the duration whatever we have decided initially, it will be of 20 days. Once that gets over, almost gets over, we they bring the client, they invite the client to demonstrate what they have built. Okay, they build, they demonstrate that. If client says okay or give some feedback, what exactly happens, they take a note of it to implement into the next cycle, which again we call it as a next sprint. And what happens, once it is ready, one room is ready, they deliver that. Once one piece is ready, say for example, one now I'm giving you another example from the banking industry. One new emerging bank comes to you, to your company, and says that, hey, we have to develop an online banking. That online banking should have the feature of cash withdrawal, cash deposit, view balance, check balance, add customer, add nominee, and various other stuff. Okay, you decide, hey, let's go with the means minimum thing first and critical thing first. At least the customer basics, or customer backbone, or customer basic information should be there. So what we'll do, add customer feature we will also enable. Okay, so you decide add customer feature, view balance or check balance, and then edit address, this should be there. And also money transfer, or we call it under cash deposit, money transfer option should be there. So 3 option out of 7 we will develop. So these 3 options, every single day you guys are working and you are discussing. Okay, we have started with adding customer, and then you discuss every single day that what we have done in last 8 hours and what we are doing going to do in next 8 hours. And if any problem is coming, to move to the next step. So this happens in daily scrum. Where this happens? what we have done or what we are going to do, and any problem that happens, any problem you all are facing. These three things we discuss when what is called as these three things
Daily
as
scrum.
daily
Daily
scrum.
scrum.
That's right. And we invite customer to see and give us the feedback that how the work has been done. This is called as sprint review. And once we deliver that feature, okay, what exactly happens? We go and brainstorm and discuss together with the team how we had delivered it, whether it is satisfactory, dissatisfactory, do we need to extract some learning out of it. So that thing what we discuss is called as sprint retrospective, right? So this is what are four basic and foundational ceremonies or event. We are going to see them also again in more detail. So I would like to invite Prerna ji you to just take the next slide, please.
Sure. Okay. So a warm welcome again to all of you for this super interesting session where we'll be learning more about Scrum ceremonies and Agile in detail. So here on the screen, I think you can see we are starting with sprint planning. So as the name suggests, a sprint planning event is there for the team to start the planning of the sprint. Okay, so you may ask why this is an event, and why it is so important. So the bottom line of the importance of this event is, before we start any sprint, having a detailed understanding of what we are going to do in that sprint is very important. Okay, so we all when I say we, means all the stakeholders of Agile. Those can be internal development teams, senior management, scrum master, product owner, everybody. Especially for Nadeem, you will get to know about these terms and these terminologies, concepts as you go on in the session. And please, I'll request you to watch the videos we've done already, and also reach out to us in case of any doubts. For others, yeah, thank you. For others, I think everybody has heard and even learned these terminologies. But still, if you have any doubts, feel free to intervene and ask me in between. Okay, so starting with a sprint planning. In this event, the purpose of this event is to create and update the sprint backlog, identify what is the sprint goal. That means what is the goal that we want to achieve in this sprint. Okay, and also we have the entire Scrum team, who will be who is with us to work on this, who commits to the goal, to achieve the goal rather, during this sprint. So the purpose of this meeting is quite simple and straightforward. By the understanding, we say that we have to update and confirm what is the sprint backlog and what is the sprint goal. Okay, so now these are two new terminologies, if I have to say. Sprint goal sounds very simple as it sounds in English. It is the goal we have to achieve in that particular sprint. It can be a variety of things, starting with, say, a particular functionality on a website. Like if we have to have any typical website like Facebook or any social media website, then say registering a new user or creating a new user in database, checking, validating the new user. Just for understanding of the simplest functionality, I have taken this example. So that can be the goal of the sprint, that okay, we have to work on this functionality, deliver this functionality, and let the client test and come back to us on this confirmation. Okay, so assuming that's a sprint goal, what is a sprint backlog? Now, this is a very interesting yet very important thing to understand. Sprint backlog means we have all the work items mentioned in the backlog, that is mostly and majorly maintained by a product owner. And this is a thing important to understand. Whenever I say take notes or mention this, mention some of the highlights. So this is one of the highlights. You can mention sprint goal, you can mention product backlog, and in front of product backlog, you can always mention and remember maintained by product owner. And it generally there is only one product backlog. It is advisable to have only one product backlog because it is like your repository from wherein you keep checking what are the work items that you have to work on. So it's like your a questionnaire, if I have to call it in a simple words. I know during your exams, when you were a kid or in your school, you used to have a questionnaire of say maybe 50 or 20 questions, and out of which you used to study, and those kind of questions used to come in exam or in, like that. So similar way, sprint backlog is basically it has all the requirements given by the customer and which are confirmed by the development team and the product owner and scrum master, and that has to be updated every sprint. We work towards achieving some of the items, achieving or rather completing some of the item from the sprint backlog. Okay.
Now, just a question here, if I may interrupt. You said there would be only one product backlog for one project. So that means there can be multiple sprint backlogs for that project.
uh See, it's like a product backlog. It's like a major repository, and out of
Right.
which for every sprint we take some of the items to work upon. Okay.
Okay.
So for example, when I was giving you the example of questionnaire, you have 20 questions for one exam. Okay. For unit test you studied 10. For semester you studied next 10, just understanding for understanding purpose. Okay.
Right.
So what happens many a times for unit test or for one of the sprints, you're not able to achieve or you're able to complete all of the sprint, all of the backlog items. Then some of them again go back to the product backlog. Okay.
Okay.
So it's like product backlog is like the the major part, and in particular sprints we keep taking out some of the items as per the customer requirements or customer priorities. Okay.
Okay.
And there are chances the some of the points gets modified. See, this all depends on how's your relation, and how is the scope of the items. Like if there are any tiny changes, we definitely accommodate. If there are many bigger changes that may involve some time, some money, or some efforts which might disturb your overall project, then we have to discuss with your customers. So that's why we keep saying create an update product backlog and maintain it, right? So we take items from product backlog and those are worked on in a particular sprint. By the way, very good question, good observation, Nadeem. I'm really happy that even after joining now you have this kind of good questions. So yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, welcome. Anybody else has any doubts? No? You have any? Please let me know. Thank you, Nadeem. So going ahead with attendees, so this is a very important event. Rather, this is the beginning of the new sprint. So everybody, starting everybody, when I say everybody, just ensure from the product owner, scrum master, your development team, your management team, if anybody is directly involved, everybody has to attend this meeting. Okay. And now there are some tips and tricks for your ease of understanding. So in this event, in this meeting, everybody is encouraged to discuss or even negotiate on the goals, sprint goal items. Sketching can be means we encourage team members to discuss. Like for example, some of the team members really want to achieve some difficult functionality. They want to deliver some something technically challenging or technically I would say a little skillful. But then when we brainstorm it, when we discuss it, we realize there are many other work items that also need to be delivered, and those work item along with something technically difficult delivery will not be possible. So what we do in the team, everybody sits and discuss their ideas, discuss about the customer priorities, that what they want to be delivered, what they want to work on, what they want to test, and in all that brainstorming, the ultimate sprint goal or sprint work items or sprint backlog is discussed. Okay, so out of those repository, you take out some items, you ensure what is required by customer, you ensure what is feasible to be completed, you ensure what is what we have to deliver in this sprint, and that is confirmed. So this is how we come to this sprint backlog and the product and the sprint goal, I would say. So ensure the product backlog has been ordered and completed by the product owner before sprint planning begins. Yes. So that is what I was saying. After every sprint or during every sprint, your product backlog is an ongoing process. Okay, it's like a repository which keeps on updating by the product owner, depending on every sprint output, every discussion, every major discussion with customers. See, for example, a customer might come and say, okay, I want a Facebook look-alike. By the way, Facebook is one of our favorite examples because we assume everybody has used it, has seen it, so it's very easy to visualize and work in your mind. So that's why we always go. Actually, I go to Facebook as an example. So when a customer says and say, no, I do not want a blue color theme. I want per se green color theme for my application or for my website. Or though it's a smaller change, but imagine they have some complexity mentioned in it. They want some themes as per pages and all. So in that case, a product owner has to go back to the product backlog items, and they have to update that item. Okay, now the color code would be this, internal pages color code would change, the themes would change, like this. Though it sounds a very simple change on a CSS level, on a what is at times on a design level, it might add some efforts. So that is how the product owner is constantly working on it, and it's one of the prime duty of his with respect to the entire Scrum and Agile process. Okay, and this is expected to be completed before the sprint. So when we have the upcoming sprint meeting, we have the updated product backlog, right, and we can refer from it. So it's quite an easy process when you visualize it, that you have a backlog items list, and every sprint meeting it has to be updated, and then during the meeting, during the planning meeting, you take items from it. So it's like it's like how you used to study, how you plan things in your professional each day work. A similar way you do that in agile planning also. So once the sprint goal is set, it can be broken by the product owner, and also it should be relevant. So basically, to achieve the sprint goal, we have to plan, like if it is a bigger functionality, complex functionality, and we have a sprint of say 15 days, so we have to complete particular development by 5 days, and then testing of that development, internal testing of the development, all that will take another maybe 3-4 days. Then again ensuring this working fine before client delivery. So on this, I'm sharing on a very lighter way, very easy to understand way, but in professional world, we actually have the project plan wherein we ensure that these things are completed, developed by a certain date, maybe 5 days of period of time, depending on the functionality. Then it is being tested by the internal testing team. Maybe some BAs are requested to test the items. Then a CUG, that is closed user group, the particular set of people outside your team, they are also requested to test that item. So all these things happen when there is complexity of the functionality, and we really want to get it completely properly done without any bugs or issues in it. So all this planning on similar grounds, it's done in the sprint planning. So as the word suggests, we have to ensure that we plan the sprint properly with respect to what are the customer needs and customer priorities are. Okay, so that is of again utmost priority, that we have to ensure that we deliver as per the ask. So are we good about this sprint planning ceremony? Anybody has any doubts, please feel free to ask. If no, we can, I'll just request
Yeah.
Gaur if you want to add something here or.
Yes, I'll take the next
Sure,
slide, Prerna.
sure. Yeah, thank you.
So what Prerna has explained you is this sprint planning from this picture. So we are good with this? Yeah.
Yes.
So let's move further and let's see which another daily scrum we were talking about. You remember daily scrum? I asked you to repeat when I was explaining this. Here is the daily scrum. Yeah. So here we are going to repeat it. So in daily scrum, who attends that? I told you, if you remember, it is scrum master. Who is scrum master? Scrum master is the person who takes the responsibility that everything related to delivery gets smooth. Okay. No impediments are there. In case anyone is found, must be removed. That is the responsibility of whom? Scrum master.
Come on.
Yeah. Another team members are, I told you, is development team, which consists of uh, developers who are the coders, testers, business analyst, and the entire production team. However, product owner can choose to be the part of this meeting, which we call it as daily scrum. In this daily scrum, this is also called as daily stand up. Can someone tell me that how long, for maximum how many hours, how much duration a team can discuss about three things? In this daily scrum, what three things are discussed? What we did, what we are going to do, and in case any problem or bottleneck we see in doing what we are going to do. So very first thing is what we did. The second one is what we are going to do.
To do.
And third one is if
And
any
if there's a
problem
problem,
in doing what
what
we
it
are
is.
going to do. Yeah. So can you tell me that just to share these three things, how long we would require?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. That's excellent. Just here you earn this clap from me. Thank you so much for answering.
Thank you.
So in this 15 minutes, everyone has to answer these three things. Okay. And it should not go beyond it. So what exactly happens in real time scenario? Sometimes we get attached with doing what we do. Okay. And we are the man, we are the being of the emotions. We are driven by the emotions, and that's the reason sometimes we get attached with our own work, and we are master in criticizing others work as well. Say for example, we had planned something today to start, and we found that has not been yet prepared by the developer, so that tester can start working on it. Okay. So tester may complain because these people are doing delay every time or something. So these things are not required even to be to spoken. Okay. So you can simply say bottleneck, I see that this module has not yet come in the testing environment. Okay. To start the testing, you are not blaming anyone, right? That but being human, it is natural to start criticizing or start noticing what has not happened, instead of we focus that what actually required to be started. So you see there is a shift into the way of explanation, and the moment you change the direction or change the narration, you find that things go totally in different direction. So it's all upon you that what you are sharing in the daily scrum. So there are some tips and tricks which has been written over here. So one is being sure the team can see each other. If you are remote, use a video conferencing tool. So in reality, what exactly happens, when we meet together in the daily scrum or daily stand-up meeting for 15 minutes, it is must that we must stand. And that's the reason its name is daily stand-up. And what exactly happened? every time meet at a certain place, okay, for certain time with certain people, so that we can see them. So because of the pandemic, people are geographically distributed. So in that case, what we decide, that we can switch on our camera. Okay. Don't let this meeting turn into a verbal status report. So it will become the status report. Okay. If you will just say in the detail that we started work on this, and today this status has moved from amber to green, and something like that, or just getting into the detail of that, that will become the status report. It does not have to be. Encourage team member to get together after the daily scrum to discuss any item that require additional conversation. Exactly. So what happens, don't you think that when we discuss these three items and we will talk about the bottleneck, people will get the urge to solve the problem then and there, because this is man's tendency to not even take a shit on them, like why even someone is pinpointing me that I am the reason for something. Okay, so this is something what exactly happens in the room, in the daily meeting. The moment they say that someone's name is say for example Jordan, or someone's name is say for example Gabor, and the person say just because Gabor has not prepared this module, we are not able to go further. Gabor will feel like taken aback, and he will say, do you think it is my fault? It has not come from the technical team itself, and business team has not given us the document to start even with. So it will you find that it is just going in a blame game. So that time it is scrum master's responsibility to tell that, only tell the bottleneck, what is the problem, and then we will discuss that in detail offline. So he will say, say for example, we have not started working on this module because it has not come to the QA environment yet. Then he will identify who is the person to deliver in QA environment. He will say, okay, fine, we will take it offline. And after the 15 minutes gets over, he will ask Gabor to stay back, and he will also ask the development team to stay back. And then further, they will diagnose the problem. Are we good with this? What to
Yes.
do and what not to do?
Okay, two questions. One is, generally, would the Scrum Master be the person who would lead this meeting?
He does not lead, he facilitate.
He facilitates.
Yes.
Okay, so who would lead the meeting here?
So no one leads the meeting. So what
Okay.
exactly happens? This team is called as a self-organizing team. Okay.
Mhm.
So what exactly happens? This self-organizing team does not require any leader, because they themselves come with the leadership skill. And that's the reason the moment they come together, anyone can initiate, anyone can take the lead. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And only three things we have to discuss. Scrum master will take a note. Okay. He can choose to send the summary with product owner, but he can choose. Okay. And
Okay.
he can take certain notes if required. Okay.
Mhm.
So since we are talking about the scrum and all, so in future we will also see the Kanban framework. In Kanban framework, what exactly happens? Things physically moves and changes its status. The requirement changes status from to do to work in progress to done. Okay. So how it happens, where it happens, we are going to talk about it. But for timing, just understand that anyone can start the meeting. Say for example, there are four people, they got into a conference room or a meeting room, and it's anyone can start. So
Okay.
we never faced, means even we are working in a corporate, and we never face that we have this issue that who will go first. Okay. So
Okay.
it never occur, anyone can get started the meeting, and only three things we have to speak up. So is it
Right.
clear now, Nadim?
Yes.
Okay, still any question under this?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much. So Another is called is sprint review. So any guess what is a sprint review? If you remember from the previous slide from here. So can someone tell me what is sprint review if you still remember?
Go over the.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mehul, you were trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue.
just to go over the work that was completed during by the Scrum team.
Okay.
And see if there are any other requirements.
All right. Thank you so much for your understanding and sharing it back. So yes, Nadim, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, it was what I understand here is that it would be whatever we created in that sprint, we would review it before forwarding it to the client or to the next level.
Okay. Thank you so much for your understanding also. Sushana, Arshita, would you like to just add? What do you understand by review, sprint review? Sushana, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm just thinking,
Okay. So
it is the like the when one sprint like the work is completed, the review, that's the stage is called sprint review, whether the work is up to the goal or not.
okay, that's a very, very, very correct line you have picked up. So thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, Arshita, what would you like to share? Sprint review. Arshita, hope I am audible to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually, it's a sprint review is the time goal. You uh, um, all work done properly in time duration. I think so.
Okay, so everyone is trying. It's a very easy to understand over here, as the name suggests, review. Who will review? You have already viewed what you have done, right? But
Yes.
now you are going to review in presence of whom you can review. In presence of client, of course, right? Because client is going to take the piece from you, right? So
Right.
to client, you will demonstrate, hey, we have worked on this, that, and various. You're just trying to lure the client that you say just yes and take this piece of work from me, and just we are waiting to see this or listen yes from the client. And for that, we use this meeting, and it goes sometime for 2 hours or so. Whatever piece of the information or the work we have done in last sprint, or say for example 20 days, we were giving the example of a house building, building a house. So for that matter, what exactly happened, just in 20 days we invite client and we showcase them that we have done this work. So when we are viewing again in presence of client on the work we have done, this is called as review, sprint review. So another word for this is called as also as demonstration, demoing what you have done. Okay, so never use the word demonstration, because that is old fashioned word. So I'm just using this word for your understanding. So just go ahead with the review word. Sprint review is the thing where you demonstrate what you have done. Okay, what your team has done.
I have a question.
Yes,
Like
sir.
I heard very often deployment. So is that related to these things?
Yes. So this meeting happens just before the deployment. And can you tell me
Okay.
what you have understood by deployment?
It's all about product planning.
Okay.
I don't know, but my husband is from IT industry, so I used to do the deployment going on. So that's why I'm
Yeah, yeah.
asking.
I'm really happy that you asked this question, because often in one of the meeting, what not meeting, family meeting or friends meeting, my wife was asking to my colleague, because they were the friend, what is this build called? Okay, every time we hear at the home, Gaurav comes home and say today the build has come and we have to deploy the new release and all. So I'm happy that you have the eyes and ears for this. So yes, you rightly said that.
I have a sorry for
Yeah.
disturbing.
Continue,
So
continue.
is the deployment is the stage where user can use the product, or yeah, or
Not
again?
See, the deployment happens in the various phases, right? Just now I was talking about tester telling that we have not received in the QA environment. So you need to understand what all the environments are. Do you remember I was just talking in a while that Gabor was giving Gabor's example, that Gabor has not given us the work in the QA environment to start with. You remember that? Just now I was talking while.
Yes.
Okay. So like QA environment is there, development environment is also there. So development environment is there, pre-development environment is there, which is also called as local environment. That is developers local machine environment. Then it moves to development environment where only developer can access the um, features developed, or say software developed, or piece of the software developed. Then once it has been passed from there, so this gets graduated or pushed towards the QA environment, where QA team also can access. Okay, so this is also called as testing environment. So testing, where small components gets tested by testers. Okay, and then it gets shared with the client also. And not a single component will be shared, but there will be some integrated part will also be shared. Okay, means two components together, three components together. So it is called as SIT environment, that is called as system integration test environment. Are you with me so far? So this system integration test.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
this sprint review will be with the customer or with the development team?
Can you ask your question again, please?
Like sprint review?
Haha.
Yeah. So that will be happen with the, like, will be with the customer who will get the product, or with the development team?
Okay, that's a very good question. So what do you think when we are talking about review, what should, with whom it should happen?
I think it's with customer.
Exactly, and you are right, Suchana. Sorry, Arshita,
Yeah.
right?
Suchana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suchana.
Okay, Suchana. So yeah, so you are right. Yes, this will happen with the customer, but who will demonstrate that? Of course, developer will be there. Okay, and also tester will be there, because developer has designed it, tester has tested it. So it's shared responsibility, right, Archita? Right, Suchana?
Yeah.
Yeah, and together they are giving the training or demo to whom? Client. So of course client will be also there. So I was just talking about deployment. So the moment things will move from one environment to another environment, this is called as getting deployed. The software gets deployed in a new environment, and for that we have got a DevOps team who is responsible for generating the build. Okay, so when things move from one environment to another environment, it is called as deployment. And also whatever the plugins our team has to bring and make sure they need to install, these all things are also called as a part of creating the build. Okay, are you clear with me now what is
Yeah.
deployment is all about?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for asking this, Suchana. So yeah, let's move further. We have discussed the sprint review. So are we clear with the sprint review? Sprint review happens with customer in presence of product owner, scrum master, and developers. who are coder and tester. We are clear, and the tips and tricks are ensure that any outside stakeholder know where they need to be when, and get the room prepped. So these are few things we need to be very much clear. Scrum master, if you are a future scrum master, pay attention over here. You need to make sure that room are free, room are available, and it has not been double booked, it is not clashing with others time. Okay, the production team should not feel like they are defending their work. uh, prep to ensure that they are able to shine. It's all about what the good work we have done, that's what we just demonstrate. It's not about finger pointing anyone. And then capture actionable feedback as items in the backlog. So in feedback, what happens? Customers say, hey, we also want this feature. Hey, we are really not keen about this feature, even though you have developed, please don't deliver it at this moment, we would require it later. So any decision may appear, any decision may come up during that point of time. So it's scrum master's job, he will take a note of it. And anyone who are present in the meeting, so they will be ready to share these all decisions with internal team. Are we good on this? On sprint review, we have just now done with daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint planning.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your response. Let's see what is remaining. So I'm really sliding faster. So here is the another ceremony. Why do we call it ceremony? Any answer?
It's an event.
Yeah, that's
that
event. It should not get bored, and you must celebrate everything. Celebration is the key. Okay,
okay.
so it should not be monotonous. You can simply really, you can give each other sci-fi, hey, you have done a good job, simply uplift each other's spirit and all. And that's the reason it is called as ceremony. So you need to celebrate, remember to celebrate. And then comes, once customer feedback is exchanged with you, you need to retrospect. Retro means what? The older. As retro plus inspection. Okay, when they combine together becomes retrospection. So sprint, the duration for which you have worked has to be taken in a glance, and the learning has to be extracted. Okay, what went well, what did not go well, can be incorporate some learning from here, this discussion, this introspection, to the new sprint. So everything gets documented. Of course, who chair this meeting? A scrum master who chairs this meeting. Okay, so product owner is optional, rest all people will be there. So who all attend? Of course, scrum master, production team, product owner is optional. You have seen. Excuse me. Allow the team to inspect itself and plan for improvement. It's all about outlining the improvement area of improvement. And tips and tricks are, don't allow people to point finger and play the blame game. Again, it's not all about blame game. It's all about your learning. Create a safe space for people to provide their honest feedback. Use games and different questions to mix things up and reduce monotony. So yeah, we will also be playing some games at the end of this agile scrum part, and we'll see that how we can incorporate some learning, and then making sure any actionable suggestions is captured, assigned, and tracked. So this is all about retrospection. Are we clear with the retrospection? What exactly happened in this sprint retrospective? So imagine you are done with the signing off a piece of work as a team member, as a scrum team, okay, as a development team, as a business analyst. You have done all the work which are required. Now you have been invited as a scrum by scrum master in one room, and there you are playing some games, and you realize, hey, exactly this is how we were working also, and we did this mistake. So you just jot them down, and you realize this thing will not be repeated, and you share that piece of information with Scrum Master. So these are the learning. So this is what you do in sprint retrospective. You inspect, you introspect, and you bring out from you some lessons learned. Okay, are we clear with the sprint retrospect? Then we can move further. Give me yes. Just say yes if you're clear
Yes,
now.
yes.
Okay. I believe Archita, Suchana, Benson, everyone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So fifth is not mentioned everywhere, and it is also called as done or sprint or cancel. Done goes in the sprint done chart to release the product. Increment from product increment from product backlog list. So what is product backlog list? So we have seen in this picture, which picture? Let me share. Yeah.
The very first part of the picture.
Yes. So these are the product backlog. The moment we slide some slice out and start prioritizing them, it is called a sprint backlog. So so this is the backlog, and when we ship it, it is called as product increment. Okay. So it is also called as done because we have done some part. So we will look about definition of done in the detail. However, we started with the sprint planning. It is also called Scrum planning. So what all the inputs are there? So inputs are product backlog item, and then latest increment that we have shipped, the velocity capacity of the development team, how much capable they are to deliver. That is also assessment we get. And then sprint planning happens where people decide what they have prioritized to work upon, and that is the mixture of the various development team. When we are talking about development team, I want to recode, don't mistake it with the only coder. Development team or Scrum team is consist of business analysts, testers, and coder, even architect and designer, everyone. So here they also discuss what we are going to do and how we are going to do. And the output becomes the sprint goal. Sprint goals means one-liner statement it could be. And sometime when we write it, it is also called as what? It is also called as user story. So those requirements are called as user story. And we will jot them down in some tool. The tool could be the even Excel tool. The Excel becomes the very older things. So now the even tools have been advanced. So when you will go and rewatch the recording, you will find we have talked about the various tools. Okay. And we had requested you in the past, go ahead and explore some tools like it could be Jira. These are the name of the tool. It could be Monday.com. It could be Trello. It could be Asana. It could be anything. So these are the name of the some tools I have just now given, and these all things come into the sprint backlog when we prioritize the things. So moving from here, let me tell you one very important thing, that what the picture we have started looking at. So here what you see, product backlog. So it's just like a sticky note. Can you see it appears like a sticky note?
Mhm.
Yeah. So every single thing appearing as a sticky note are the piece of the requirement. So few sticky notes we move from backlog to the sprint backlog. Sprint backlog means immediately we are getting ready to work upon. Okay. So those things will get listed and get prioritized. And that's the reason you see that few sticky notes are still here in the product backlog and few sticky notes have been already prioritized. Okay. So the moment it gets prioritized, we start working on them daily. So it happens like here it is inception, is planning, is implementation, and every single day the daily scrum happen on those work, on those sticky note, we will continue to work. And the moment we find that we headed on the final day of the sprint, that is the day 20 or 30, whatever it could be, even for date 15, it will be marked as completed feature. Okay, review will take place and introspection will take place. The moment that is done, it will be incremented fast, one by one by one by one by one, to the customer, which is also called as completed product. So every single thing on the first slide, when we started, we saw the same thing is presented over here. So are we good with
Gaurav,
this?
yeah, I would like to add something here.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah, thank you. So guys, please draw this simplistic diagram in your notebook or in your notes, or at least take a picture, because this diagram gives you it's like a short or version of your entire summary what we have learned so far. So you can see product backlog when you just Gaurav was mentioning. You can see there are some more line items lying there, mentioned there. So that depicts that we have a larger and bigger product backlog compared to a sprint backlog. Sprint backlog is a part of that product backlog. You take out some of the work, and then you have this spiral process flow, if I have to call it, starting with planning and implementation. So this all indicates how your sprint goes around, how your sprint works, what is the process or what is the flow of your sprint. So this diagram is very important, and it is very, if you see, you can, if you just draw it and remember it like that, you don't have to read more, or no, you don't have to worry about remembering anything, because it is so simplistically mentioned. You start with planning, then you go to implementation, that is your development, testing, analytics, everything. Then you go to review, and then you go to retrospect, right? So review part and retrospect part, Gaurav has really explained quite well. So please revisit this video once we are done. So all these things, along with, you see the smaller curve, it's a very cutely they have mentioned daily scrum, because daily scrum meetings is like one of the I would say major building blocks of this entire agile process, because it's a very fast paced environment. Everybody is engaged in their work, everybody is working towards completion of their own task in hand, because we have very limited set of time. We have to deliver to the customer, we have reviews coming up and all. So that time, daily catching up and knowing the status of everybody at one go, it's very important. So what you have been working, what are you going to work ahead, and what are the impediments or issues you have been facing or you are facing? These are the crucial questions that are addressed and that are shared in the daily scrum. And by the way, these all questions, these three important questions, you can ask you yourself in your professional and personal life also, that what I am working on, what I want to work on in future, in coming future, and if there are any issues or any hurdles, any impediments I am facing right now, how I can overcome them. So it's called practical implementation of agile in your life as well. So how you can map that and how well it works. The wonder of agile is it works significantly, it works wonderfully, because it's a very practical way of approach. So when we say sprint planning, the entire sprint process, sprint circle is completed along with the daily scrum, and at end of the day, or end of the sprint, if I have to call it, we get the completed product, we get the delivery which we had to deliver to the customer, as promised or as committed. So please take a picture of this slide, take a note of this entire process map, or it has been really mentioned quite well. So you don't have to worry about remembering anything, everything is there. So before even your interview, you can just look at this diagram and just memorize or remember what we discussed, whatever you could recall, that's it, you are halfway there. So it's that simple. Agile has been, kind of the crust of agile has been shared on this slide. So that's why I'm emphasizing more. This is a very important presentation, and the entire things have been mentioned for your understanding, and you are good to go from here. That's what I wanted to add. Yes, Gaurav, over to you. Thank
you. Yeah, thank you so much, Prerna. So yeah, so it has been explained well. So are we still there together? Can we have some? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so what is sprint in Scrum? So very plain text it is written. It's time box iteration of a development cycle. So sprint is a time duration we have seen. And the moment we talk about sprint, it is also called time boxed activity. You have to finish in certain time. Okay. And that's the reason it is called as time boxed. Okay. Development cycle is the moment you see a feature is completed and delivered to the client, and we are prioritizing it again. Okay. So what you see here, the same thing will get repeated for the next cycle. Okay. Again, we will pull some tickets or sticky notes to start discussing, hey, what we are going to deliver next and how we are going to deliver. So one business analyst will tell that, hey, I have written the requirement, and developers say, hey, I have seen the requirement, and will start coding or designing. Tester would say, let's write the condition in what all the environment and how we are going to test it. So once they agree on that, and then in reality, these design things will undergo the testing phases or processes, and everything gets passed, and they will mark it as a tick mark, done. So that is given back to one, given again the completed feature to the customer. Again, every single room, going back to our previous example, we had 4 rooms we have talked about. One room will be ready. We will call customer and see how does it look like. Has it come up to the mark, or do you want any new changes? Because whatever the changes is there, you need to tell us now. So say for example, in one room, uh, uh, bricking and all is done, and say for example, a lighting work is to be done. So before putting the light, we will just discuss, say we are putting some sockets here, some PowerPoints here, and some plugs here, some bulbs here, some lights here. Are you happy with that? Please let us know in advance if you want some changes to be done. Okay, this is the one delivery of one piece of the work. When the agreement or feedback is taken care and received, and we work accordingly, what we do, then we color the room and all. So for color also, we'll invite the client and we'll say, hey, we started with this white color, do you want some changes? And then we receive the feedback. Are we receiving the feedback? Are we here together? Yes. Are we getting it? This example. Thank you so much. So the same activity continue to be repeated, and that's what we said over here. So development life cycle, and broken project into small and consistent time interval. So like we are giving the example of rooms. So one room is taking at least 20 days to be completed. So the all 4 rooms will take 20, 20, 20, and this is what we call it as broken project into small and consistent time interval. Okay, as short as few days and as long as 4 weeks. So any sprint can be minimum of 1 day and maximum of 30 days, but in reality you never find any sprint of 1 day, but minimum of 7 days or 5 days, or a week you can say. And that's the reason it is called that any sprint varies from 1 week to 4 week, means 1 week to 7 days to 30 days. Are we here good together? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And sprint in Scrum can we can call a sprint goal a project in itself due to start and finish record it gives. So what do you see here? Every ticket, every sticky note is in goal itself. Okay, that's what it mentions over here, that we can call sprint goal a project in itself due to start and finish record it gives. Say for example, here you see that out of these 9 tickets, we have just chosen 6 tickets. Okay, we have chosen just 6 tickets. So just give me a second. I'm adding the power. And sometime what may happen that we end up choosing only one ticket. How many ticket? One ticket. So one ticket means one requirement. And we have just now said over here that it can we can call a sprint goal a project in itself due to start and finish recorded gaps. Why one ticket? Because this one room itself may take, or one ticket itself may take the whole entire 20 days. Okay, and that's the reason we call it sometime a project in itself, because every single activity is project. And now what you see here, as I said, that this will get repeated for multiple piece of requirement. This is what you see as a time box sprint. This is a fixed length of with the start date comes with the end date, and it will continue to get repeated, and it will balance between the need to release rapidly, okay, and allow enough time to complete a useful amount of work in each sprint. So these all are sprint. Are we good with this picture, this pictorial example? This is one sprint is explained, and one sprint means one room, and all the rooms will take the same shape and same order and same format. Every single time we will do the same activity, we will do all those ceremonies, starting with the sprint planning, and then sprint review or sprint retrospective, daily scrum, and all these activity in every single sprint. Are we good with this? Great.
Just a
Yeah.
question here. Is there a possibility that we'll be working on the multiple sprints at the same time, or it'll be just one sprint at a time?
One sprint at a time.
Okay.
Yes. So see, how will you work on a multiple sprint at a time?
No, what I was thinking, if we pick 2 or 3 items from and put in the sprint level, and then we give it to different people and they're working on, or is there a possibility that we have multiple sprints and
Okay,
keep on
so
going
great
at the same
question.
time?
Thank you. So this is a great question. Let me address like this. What exactly happened? Product owner when chooses the set of people that who will be the part of development team. So they decide only the fixed people. Okay, in between they cannot change the resources, right? So if they are work, and in one sprint only minimum 3 and maximum 9 people can work, not more than that. And the moment you start thinking like this, that we will include these people for this sprint and these people for that sprint, and in parallel we will start continue working, that is not going to happen, because we are not here with only one project, and some budgets are involved. Okay, and customer has to be agree on to those things does not happen, because we present the faces with the customer and client, and we tell them, hey, we have these highly skilled people and we are working with them, these are the name. In between you can't say that and the other team cannot come and present or demonstrate on which they have not worked. Okay, the moment client sees some new faces and name, so he will not agree, because they have not been the part of it. So all the purpose will get dissolved the moment we will include the multiplicity over here, that we are inviting other team members to work upon who are not even the part of the team, and they have not even started following the culture, because everything will go with the culture. And this some people may try doing it, and they end up following messing up with the things, and that's the reason this is never advisable, and that has never been practiced. Okay. So only set of few people will continue to deliver one sprint by another, one sprint after another sprint after another sprint and after another sprint. Okay.
Yes.
So once an appropriate length is found, it typically stays the same. Okay. So once at start, if things are decided, it is Geber, Virginie, Benson, and other people are there. So if you guys are going to work on these things, you continue to work on these things. Okay. If you have taken the responsibility of XYZ, in this sprint, you will take the responsibility of these features only. Okay. This is how we plan. This is how we deliver. And this is how we achieve. So any questions so far? If
No.
not, we can move next. Okay. So let me reshare my screen in front of you. And in the screen, I'll bring what we have discussed earlier. Okay. So this part we had discussed. Okay. We have discussed about the various role, about the product owner, scrum master, and scrum team, and the stakeholder in the gray, all involved in the project. Do we remember that from the last time, everyone?
Mhm.
Thank you. And I really appreciate for all of you. I saw that you have created and brought the drawing what you had learned, but that is just halfway through. The moment you will showcase those drawing and summarize in a minute or two, then that gives the confidence that, hey, I am really receiving something, and I'm really grasping something. So the next step you need to remember, Archita and Suchana, these things had come from you once. So try to incorporate these things with the ongoing weeks. Otherwise, our sprint cannot be delayed, right? So if you'll consider that every single week we are drawing something what we have learned, and we are also summarizing in a minute, and the moment we will come into the next sprint, understand that the memory will get faded away, or you will not retain what you have learned for longer. And that's the reason, this is the process, this is the science. I continue to tell you, you start your learning with the declaration, then you follow after learning the drawing, whatever you have learned, you need to summarize. That's the where the finish line is. You don't have to be on the finish line, you have to cross the finishing line, and that's when you win the race. Okay, you win the sprint. Are we good so far? Whatever I have just shared, that how you need to continue to follow the learning process over here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for acknowledgement. So yeah, sprint planning. So let's understand. We will define it. So Prerna, would you like to take in this in your style, please?
Gaurav, I think we've really had a very good session with all the understanding, and I think I want everyone to have some time to digest and have this adjusted in their system. What is the agile? What is the process? What is a sprint? What is the product owner's responsibility with respect to the sprint? How the team is involved in the process, right? So I just request everyone to please do rewatch this video once we are done, whenever you're in your spare time. So next time when we come and we go to the next topics, you have all the essential details in your mind. You have all your doubts ready in case you have. And as I just have to highlight again, as Gaurav mentioned, please make small videos. Not in case if you're not able to make bigger ones, make smaller videos wherein you are able to share what you learned from the sessions and whatever your understanding of the sessions is. So that also helps